Today's guests are two of GBboxing's finest. They've recently qualified for the Tokyo Olympics. It's Karris, Artingsall and Olympian Pryce. So, how are you doing, ladies?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Nice one. So firstly, appreciate that you, given a bit of your time in the day, because I'm sure you'd rather be in the garden sunbathing at this point.
That's exactly what I was doing, sunbathing. But to be fair, I've just got sunburnt, so probably a blessing in disguise, this.
There you go. So firstly, congratulations, ladies. Absolutely phenomenal. All the hard work paid off. Now qualified for Tokyo 2021. So firstly, just tell me a little bit about the last few days.
Go on, you go first.
Yeah, it's like Car said, it's still a bit unreal, like the feeling to say that we're both Olympians. I don't think it's going to feel normal until we're on that plane going to Tokyo. But for me, I'm just glad that the word qualifier is out the way, because the last 18 months it's just been
looming over us, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a long wait down there, and more mentally challenging than anything, I think, just because of the long wait. And obviously we had the draw, so we already knew we were boxing. I think that was the biggest thing. So to get that out of the way now, I just feel so much like a weight
can chill a bit now, can't you? Like, we can just go into Tokyo and enjoy it now because we've qualified. That's done. The hard bit's done. Just go to Tokyo now and just enjoy ourselves and just showcase our skills without panicking whether we're going to qualify or not, because it's already done.
Sorry about that. So talking about obviously the last 18 months, it has been difficult with COVID hitting. Talk to me about how did you both deal with that? Number one, not only just the training, but the challenges mentally. How did you deal with that?
To be fair, like during lockdown, we went into lockdown together, so we had each other to train with. So that was a benefit, I suppose, because when like she was padding me, I was trying to pad her back, but not all the time it was successful. Like she'd come at me with her backhand, I'd be like panicking, pushing back, like. But
we
mentally,
had a few spars as well,
we had a few spars. We did.
In the living room.
Pushed the sofas to the side. We didn't even put the headgear on. We just whacked a gum shield in and just had a bit of a scrap, like. Few black eyes and whatever, but we had 2 spars and then we called it a day and then didn't do it again.
Was she beating you up or were you beating her up?
No, we were just coming out with like headaches and bruises everywhere, and we was like, I don't think this is safe to continue to carry on, so we just stuck to the pads.
Yeah, I think that was the safest option.
But mentally wise, like at the start, like it wasn't too bad, because in your head, well, speaking for myself, I just assumed it'd be back up and running within a few weeks at the most. But then weeks became months and months became, well, over a year, didn't it? So mentally wise, it was very, very hard. And it was just the unknown. Like no one knew what was going to happen. Like 1 minute it was like, oh, it's back on. And then it was like, oh, it's cancelled again.
Like we didn't even know if Tokyo was going to happen. Do you know what I mean? No. So it was just the old thing of, if it was all going to be cancelled,
especially with social media, wasn't it? Because everyone was saying, "Oh, it's going to be cancelled. It's not going to be cancelled." Like, but you don't know until you hear it for definite. Like, so.
But I think as soon as we were back up running in Sheffield, back in the gym, I think it was in July. We started. Obviously, it was like just being back to normality. Really, started training camps. We went to Turkey.
Been Ireland a few times.
Been to Ireland, few competitions and that. So it just felt normal again. Just nice to get back sparring and into a routine, I suppose, training 3 times a day like we normally do. So, and obviously the back end of support with GBboxing as well, all the support staff and that got us on the right path.
They were sending us kit out anyway, weren't they, to the house? Like, because we had a little garage on the side of the house, they were sending us like weights and stuff so we could keep up with the circuits and the S&C and everything. So. Yeah, massive thank you to them for doing
Zoom
what they were doing.
sessions as well, weren't we?
I had Zoom sessions up in the garage because they put a bag up for us in the garage, and they tried to keep it just as normal as possible. Like, tried keeping everyone, the spirits high and everything, which was a massive help. But
it was hard at times.
Yeah, it was very hard.
Like, more mentally than anything.
Would you say that was your toughest, test to date mentally?
For me, 100%, because it was just like you'd think it was in arm's reach, and then it just get pushed back even further, and then like you're making weight, and then you're putting weight back on, and you're peaking, and then you have to like take your foot off the gas and put it back on, and it was just coming and going and stopping and starting, and it was just a nightmare, to be honest. So for me, most definitely mentally, it's been the hardest challenge throughout my boxing career.
So talking about, before you actually went to the qualifiers, I'm going to address this to Lauren first. So you boxed in 2019, you win against Russia, you win a gold medal, you become the world champion, and then all of a sudden you've got, again, you've got to go into lockdown. I mean, did you feel a little bit like, number one, a little bit more pressure because you're a world champion, and then number two, did you feel, you've got that target on your back and you haven't had, all the sparring that you needed to have? How did that affect you mentally going into those new competitions?
Yeah, that was the biggest thing for me because I'd been on a roll. Obviously, I'd won the Commonwealths, won the Europeans, and then won the Worlds, and then I've had 18 months out the ring. So you can train as much as you want, but there's nothing like the real thing. And I think that was the biggest thing for me. But I boxed in January or February, something like that. I think it was out in Hungary, and I got 3 good bouts in. And for me, that was just the main preparation. Really, I was just looking to go get out, perform, and then the biggest thing for me was obviously the qualifiers this year, performing in them. And I think it's worked down to a T. Preparation the last 6 weeks, I say, have gone really well. I've been hitting numbers like PBs and stuff like that. And I know, like in my own head and my heart, as long as I've ticked all them boxes, I'm in a good place mentally and physically to know that on my day, if I perform, I can beat anyone. So I was very confident going into the qualifiers, just off the back of the last 6 weeks, probably more than anything. Putting the training in. So yeah, it was good. And for me, going into the qualifier, the main thing was normally you're going in to win a gold. But for me and the whole team, really, the main thing was to qualify. And I knew as soon as you get them 2 fights out the way, you kind of relax and there's a lot of pressure lifted off you, so you can enjoy it a little bit more. And when you're enjoying it, you perform better. And for me, it just showed in my performances as well. Every fight I improved. So yeah.
And Karris, same question kind of to you. So you join in 2018, you get onto the GB squad, don't you? And then it's like, oh, this is lovely, it's going well, we're winning medals, and then all of a sudden, hold up, COVID hits, and then you're kind of stuck. You didn't get out as much, did you, as everybody else, did you? Before
No, so COVID hit, and then I tried getting out to a couple of tournaments, but they was just I was picking the wrong tournaments because we was having there was options between 2 different tournaments, and I was picking the wrong ones because they just kept collapsing through and not going ahead. And then I managed to get out to, where did I go? Czech Republic. Me and Lauren were the only 2. Well, we was meant to go out to Serbia with the rest of the team. Like the whole team who was going to the qualifiers got sent out. And Lauren ended up coming back with a positive test. And because me and Lauren share a house in Sheffield, neither of us could go. So we had to isolate for 10 days, and then we flew out to Czech Republic literally
we had like 1 gym session, that was it.
We went into the gym for 1 session, days. Not trained for 10 days, and then we flew out to Czech Republic because I needed it. I needed to get out. So we went out, and I had 3 fights, 3 wins out there. I got withdrew from the finals, so that was really, really good prep for me for the qualifiers. Other than that, we had training camps, etc. But like Lauren said earlier, it's not the same as a tournament. You just can't compare to actually competing.
Was there a slight worry though that you're watching everybody else go out and have these? Granted, they're not championship fights; they're kind of warm-up fights. Were you slightly worried going into the qualifiers that quite a few people had been out? You were talking about going out to Hungary, etc. Were you slightly worried you didn't get out as much as the others?
Nah, I was worried before I went to Czech Republic, but because I managed to get out to Czech Republic and get 3 fights, I knew that was just what I needed. I could have just done with the 1 fight, if anything. I just needed to go through the process of weighing in, getting up in the morning, having the draw done, etc. Just going through the emotions, walking to the ring. So 1 fight would have been enough for me to feel happy to then go on and perform in the qualifiers. But having 3 and winning them was perfect for me. It was ideal. But if I didn't go out to Czech Republic, it would have been a different story, 100%.
So we finally get to the qualifiers. I mean, geez, we were all wondering whether the Olympics were actually going to go ahead, and there you are. You go to Paris. Both of you do really well. We'll turn to Lauren at first. You first beat Davina Mikel. Do we pronounce it like that?
The French girl, yeah. Yeah, she's a very big girl. She stands over the ropes when she gets in the ring. So yeah, she's pretty tall. But I'd watched the previous fights, and she was at the tournament in Czech Republic as well. So I watched the box there, and I knew if I just stuck to my game plan, like my speed and my footwork, I'd have no trouble.
I think, no disrespect to her, but I think you had the more superior boxing skill, the more superior footwork, hand speed, etc. And isn't she the one that came down from 80-something kilos?
Yeah, I think she come down from 81. Yeah, she used to box at 81, so she's come down to 75. So yeah, she's a big girl, and I knew as well. Obviously, the qualifier being in London. Obviously, I drove France, and then obviously switched around and obviously go into the elimination. But I kind of didn't really think of that. I just thought, obviously, it's just me and her in the ring and 5 judges, and looked at it that way, really.
Karris, you get your first fight against the Belarus unanimous decision. I mean, talk to me about literally getting that first win under your belt. Did you kind of, were you able to relax a little bit?
Yeah, 100%. The first bout, I was mega chilled. I was relaxed. I just fell into my room as soon as I got into the ring. I found my range straight away. I was just like picking my shots off nicely. The next bout after that, on the other hand, the qualifying one, I think, I don't know what happened. I obviously just didn't turn up on the day, but I think watching the rest of the team qualify on the day I had a rest, I think it was overwhelming for me. Like, obviously watching them all do it, I was absolutely excited for them. I was so happy. But then I went back to the hotel, and then all of a sudden it just doomed on me, and I was like, oh my God, it's now down to me to finish the team off, sort of thing. Like, I need to go and qualify. And then since then, like, I opened my eyes the next morning and I just didn't feel 100%. I just couldn't get my head into the game properly. Like, and I think I was just overwhelmed massively. So fair play to, I don't know how to pronounce her name, the Bulgarian. Like, she turned up on the day and got the win. So fair play to her. But yeah, I'm just absolutely, I'm just blessed to have the second shot at it the next day. Like,
I did wonder, like, oh my God, she probably is starting to feel not just the pressure, you know, normal competition pressure, but now everybody else is qualified. It's down to me, like you just said, to sort of complete it. But did you feel a little bit at any point, like, you know, I don't know how to put it. I know it's very hard, but was it difficult to kind of get your head like back into the game and go, do you know what? I've worked hard for this. I'm just going to give it all I've got.
100%. Like, after I boxed Bulgaria, I was like, my heart had just been shattered. Like, I was like, what have I just, like, because even when I stepped out the ring, and this is what hurts me the most, is I knew I could have performed so much better than what I did. So when I stepped out, I was like, I just wanted to like hit myself. I was like, what have I just done? I've just let my dreams slip out of my hands, sort of thing. So I had a little bit of a wobble for like 5-10 minutes. I went on, I cooled down, I had a skip, I had a stretch, I had a walk, and she come out of the stand shouting at me, pointing a finger in my face. She was like, look, get a grip of yourself, lift yourself, put yourself back up, you're going again tomorrow. And she was like, I know you can do it. You just got to believe in yourself, sort of thing. So I did. I just lifted my head up high and thought to myself, like, I've not trained this hard and wanted it this much just to like bow my head down into my hands and just walk away because I've messed up on one day. Like,
ultimately, that kick up the backside by Miss Pryce, was that the thing that got you?
Nah, I knew, like, to be fair, I think even Karris on her worst day, she was gonna go and do it and win. I had every confidence in her, but just knowing that she'd qualified during them words meant everything to her, let alone me as well. So she was the last one to do it, and I think it's the hardest thing as well. Everyone else qualifying and her getting that loss, like to come over that is got to be mentally strong, and she showed she done it, and yeah. I'm just happy that she's coming on the plane to Tokyo with me. That was the biggest thing for me.
So you're not sat on your own on the plane for that many hours, like.
To be fair, I was going to ask, how important is it that you two do this final leg of the journey together?
Oh, we're like stuck to each other with glue. Like, you can't, if you see one, you see the other one in the gym. You never see us alone. Like, so I think the coaches were more worried for her if I didn't qualify that she'd be left on her own, because we're honestly just stuck to each other like glue everywhere we go. we don't have, like, one of us doesn't have an appointment with a physio without the other one following in behind. Like, everything's back to back with us, honestly. But,
Double trouble, isn't it?
yeah, being on the journey together just makes it that much better. Like, it's just, you just, even though you're away from home and everything, like, you've still got your comfort because we've got one another. Like, so it's just class, like, being on the journey together.
It's beautiful to hear that. I think it's so important for females to kind of support each other. And so, you know, just the people that are out there and listening to this journey that you guys are embarking on together, it's beautiful. Lauren, you came away with the gold and you're now the number one seed, aren't you?
Number one seed, yeah. I know, it's a bit mad, really. I knew... I was just trying to like take each fight as it comes, like I normally do. But like I said, the main thing for me was to qualify. And after I'd done that, I kind of relaxed a little bit. And I knew then I had the Irish girl in the semi-final. I boxed her before, beat her twice before, and I knew I'd spotted her a couple of weeks ago, and she had improved. She'd come on quite a bit. So yeah, I just knew like I had to stick to my game plan really. Every fight, just use my skills and my speed, and I'd be all right. And then obviously going into the final against Russia, well, I didn't even know anything about the girl. I honestly thought that I'd be meeting my rival Nushka, because it's always me and her in the final. But as soon as I got out the ring in the semis, I walked into the changing room and they told me that the Russian had won. That's why I got in the final tomorrow. So I didn't know much about her. I knew she was world champion and European champion at 81 kilo, so I knew she was a strong girl, a big girl. But I kind of like switched off that day, went back, and then had a little look at her the morning of the final. Went through with the coaches and just had a little look how she boxes and stuff like that. I knew she could hit hard.
She was doing pads like previous to. I was watching the belt before. I think it was. Who was on before you?
Caroline, I think.
No, 69. No, because 69s were on before her, so I was watching the 69s. And then in between each round, I could hear these big thuds on the pads, and I was like, "That's not Lauren, because Lauren doesn't hit like that." I was like, "That's the Russian." And I was just thinking in my head, I hope Lauren stays fast on her feet as she does, and just has her hands up a little bit, because she could punch a bit like Russian.
It was a really mad setup though, right? Because normally you have the red corner and blue corner separated, but this tournament, everyone was in the same area, so you're warming up next to your opponent.
Getting your hands done, sat next to your opponent,
yeah, so
like,
you're having
it
your
was
hands
a bit
wrapped,
crazy.
they're like obviously giving you the eye and stuff like that. And then you're warming up, and they're warming up next to you. So I'm hitting the pads, she's hitting the pads, and yeah, it doesn't really. It was a bit mad, but and I knew that if I could keep my speed in there with her and use my skills, I'd be all right. And I think the good thing for me as well this tournament was after every round, you get the scores.
Yeah.
So I kind of go back the corner and I speak to Dave, and I was like, "Oh, am I up?" kind of thing. Because even sometimes, when you absolutely school around, I still ask myself if I won that round. And it was just nice to know, because going back up then in the second round, you still got to perform, but you can kind of like relax a bit more, and you know where you're at. Like, so yeah, it was a really good tournament for me. I was happy that I finished on top. And like you said, yeah, going into the Olympics now at number one seed, I'm not going to kind of put any pressure on myself or nothing like that. I'm just going to focus on, I've done the job, I'm going to Tokyo, and I know it's not finished yet, but I'm just going to enjoy the journey and go from there.
So you talked about you guys had a camp with, I think, wasn't it Ireland and France beforehand?
We've had
France when it was Ireland, Italy.
I've had a couple with Ireland, because you went away with Hungary, didn't you? But
yeah.
Italy was over once with Ireland, so it was Ireland and Italy, wasn't it?
Ireland and Italy.
Oh, and German,
I sparred against
the German girls.
Wasn't it Christina Hammer, is it?
I don't know. 75.
Christina Hammer, yeah, the 75.
She was pro, but then I think she come back to do the Olympics. But
yeah, I was going to say.
She come back to do the Olympics. She ended up changing the girls' one, didn't they, or something?
Yeah, I think the 75 German, the normal German, fell pregnant, so then she took her space, and she boxed Sweden in the qualifiers, but Sweden beat her. But yeah, I sparred against her out in Ireland. The Irish girl who I just beat, and I sparred against Italy. I sparred against Italy 75, who I beat at the beginning of the year in Hungary. So I had some really good sparring.
So firstly, I've been on these camps before, and You know, obviously everyone's kind of in close proximity to each other. Do you guys in sparring show everything, or do you keep a little bit back? I know as elite fighters, it's hard not to show, you know, or for them not to discover things about you because you're out there. But I mean, do you kind of keep a little? Do you try a few tricks, or is it kind of this mad open spar where you're absolutely putting it on them?
For me, I just think like it's a spar, and I fight completely different to a spar.
I'm at sparring, I'm shy. I'm completely different. But I suppose it's good. It's that way. I'd rather be better in an actual competition than sparring. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, in sport, it's hard to get that spark. Do you know what I mean? Like you're not alert as much or anything because you've not got the adrenaline or the nerves. Sometimes you can be too chilled and you're just like, oh, she's hit me, but whatever, she's not winning because it's not a fight sort of thing. So. But
then on the other hand, it's good to kind of have a look around and work on things and kind of see.
But some sports can get heated as well, can't they? Yeah. I suppose it just depends.
It depends on the country and your opponent, I suppose, how they come out. But it was good just to get some rounds in.
Especially with the European countries like Italy, Ireland, especially at my weight, they're very good like operators, so it's good, really good sparring for me. Like so, right.
I always imagine like you trying little tricks just to like throw them off the game.
Switching in your orthodox hands.
I trip over my feet if I tried that. I wouldn't even try it.
You just said that about Christina Hammett, so I'm going to ask you both, what do you think about pros that have had quite a considerable time in the professional scene, coming back and representing their country? I can hear you laughing. Coming back and representing their country in the Olympics.
Nah, I think if you're a pro, you stick to your guns and you stay as a pro. You can't come back as an amateur and compete in the Olympics.
Who's the girl for Katie Taylor? From Belgium.
Delphine Pursoon.
Yeah, like
it just goes to show though, like look at her boxing Katie Taylor. She gave her a good fight like in the pros. And then she come into the amateurs and she got knocked out not knocked out, but she got beat in the first round of the qualifiers, like, and it's a completely different ball game. Like 3-3s, you going at it 100% fast, hard. Pros, you slow it down a bit and that, don't you? And it's just I just think if you turn pro, you stick with your guns and you stay as a pro.
I've noted somewhere, I don't know where I read it, but that you said that you kind of credit the army for helping you find the right direction in life. So what was life like before the army?
She was naughty.
I wasn't on the right tracks, I'm not going to lie. Like I got kicked out of expelled from 3 different schools. I was getting in trouble with the police for fighting, etc. on the streets. I ended up in a non-mainstream school. And for their PE lessons, that's what they did. They went down to the local boxing gym on a Friday. It was only for an hour, but it was the only thing I enjoyed doing because I like to be hands-on. So we went down there every Friday, and that's how I got into the boxing. And a big part of it, I want to say a big thanks to my coach as well, Kevin Bradbury from Maxfield Boys. Because if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would have stuck at it as much as I did because I didn't have any belief in myself. It was him that believed in me sort of thing. And then from there, I still couldn't dedicate myself to 100%. I was still messing around with the wrong group of people out on the streets and whatever. So I was still getting into trouble as well as trying to put myself into the boxing side of things as well. But then I didn't have a job, so I was like, what do I do? I went down a route of doing coaching for kids and stuff. But if anything, I don't think I was any good for the kids because I was
a little terror.
Yeah, I was just as bad as some of the naughty kids. I was trying to calm down and stuff. So I was I know, yeah. I was I can't be a role model for them if I'm not even I'm not on the right track myself. So I sat down with my mum and my mum was like, if you want to join the army, I'll back you sort of thing. So I joined the army. And it took me a bit to get on track in the army because even going through training in the army, I was almost close to getting kicked out. I was just not mature, I suppose. I just didn't mature really, and then a year or 2 into the army, that was it. I found my feet, I matured, I got back into boxing, and here I am now. So a massive thank you to the army though, because they supported me, they funded me, they've given me the time of day, and they've let me take a step back from work and let me put 100% into the boxing. So without them, would I be where I am now? Probably not, because I wouldn't have had the time that I've been able to have to put into boxing.
some coaches, they don't realise what they do, I think, for the boxers and how much influence they have, and so they have to be very careful about the way that they speak to them and stuff. You guys are amazing role models. I mean, when was the point that you kind of realised that you were both role models for not just women in boxing, but for women in sport, like you were saying, Karris, for people that might have been on the wrong side of the tracks and then have kind of found their way?
I suppose for me, it's only recently I've thought of myself like that. I'd say within like the last year or something, I think I've just matured properly as an adult. And like even when I'm watching myself back on interviews, like I'm speaking better and the things I'm saying are more understanding. Whereas if I'd done this like 3 years ago, like I was horrendous at it, to be fair.
It's just a confidence boost, isn't it? You just get confidence from, I don't know, winning and the environment.
Speak for yourself. When you've won as many gold medals as she has, I suppose she gets interviewed left, right and centre, doesn't she? So she's used to it.
Yeah, and the environment we're in. But for me, I think I come back to where I'm from, and I go around like a lot of schools, and I'll tell my story to kind of inspire the next generation and stuff like that. So it's nice to obviously give something back as well, and I'll get people message me about like signing pictures for the kids and stuff like that. So it's nice just to give something back, I suppose.
Some of the best moments that I've seen since you guys qualified are you guys going home and kind of people getting showered with champagne and. Did you guys have any of that?
We got a few banners, haven't we? We got a few banners, a few cards, some desserts.
Big banner outside the house. It was nice just to come home because we'd been away for such a long time as well, because of obviously COVID. We had to be isolating in Sheffield, so we haven't seen like our family and stuff for a few weeks. So it's just nice to come back and celebrate with them.
Yeah.
You live together. Anything, Karris, you can tell us about Lauren that we don't know? Anything about her character?
Do you want to know what her favourite music is? She's into Westlife. That's.
I knew he was going to say that.
One of the things that I wouldn't say bugs me, but Westlife's not a bit of me. So, but other than that, she's horrendous at picking something on Netflix. Like, honestly, it's me. I have to pick something every single night to watch on Netflix because she's just horrendous. If she picks something, it'll be something in like, I don't know, like Dutch or something. You won't even understand it. Like, it'd be something completely off track. But
I'm better at cooking though.
When do you ever cook? She never cooks. She doesn't cook. She's good with a Hoover. She can Hoover the house. That's about the only thing she's good at.
Yeah. All right, you've said enough now.
And untangling rats, boxing rats, when they get washed, she has to untangle them because I lose myself with them. But as a person, I don't really.
I'm quite laid back and just.
Yeah, she's very chilled, laid back. Like, I can get stressed over anything. Like, if I don't know, the dishes have been left in the sink for too long, I could lose my head. Like, but yeah, you're mega chilled, aren't you?
Yeah, chilled, laid back. Yeah.
She can eat what she wants so in the house. Like, she can eat absolutely. She makes weight mega easy. Like, I don't struggle to make weight, but the closer to a tournament we get, I have to lay off the biscuits, and she'd sit there with a full pack of jammy Dodgers, just happily sitting next to me. What's happening?
Yeah, but she eats more than me. So
and she just smashing through jammy Dodgers. Like,
she doesn't even feel bad about it.
Nah. I don't think she thinks about it because she's that chill, laid back. She's just like, I don't think it crosses her mind.
What about you, Lauren? What can you tell us about Karris? Because you must have seen some changes. You must have seen some changes in her. Since, joking aside, you must have seen some changes in her since she joined the army and then she comes on to GB. Talk to me a little bit about the growth that you've seen in your friend.
Yeah. Well, from a boxing point of view, she haven't. When you think about it, she haven't really been on the team that long. But I think she showed how much she'd come on when she went to the World Championship. She was very unlucky to not get the decision. She should be world champion in my eyes, and a lot of other people's. But yeah, I like from a boxing point of view, I think she got it all, like the talent, the skills, and she's capable of going and winning a gold medal in the Olympics from what I can see anyway. But she comes across all like sweet and nice and innocent, but she's a bit gobby at times. I got to put her back in her place.
You got to have both though, haven't you? You've got to have a gobby one and a quiet one.
I'm stronger than her, so I can shove her out of the way.
Give you a...
She's very good at rapping as well. She's very good.
Hold on.
I know.
So,
Get me
hold
on
on
the
a minute. So,
karaoke.
On the
you're
karaoke.
saying she's good at rapping. Do you mean as in rapping, as in rapping?
Mike,
On the mic,
Mike,
like
check
to the back, to the
1, 2.
beat, to the hey, oh.
Because you know what? Now you know we've got to have a demonstration now.
Yeah, come on.
Nah, I
Give us
need
a few liners, innit?
karaoke. I need a karaoke or something.
What, can't you just freestyle it?
No, I can't
Yeah,
just
you
speak.
can.
No, I can't.
You can.
No, I have to, like, I need music playing so I can just go with it.
Okay, we'll leave it.
I
Hold
can't
on
do
one second.
everything, can I? Do you know what I mean?
Just wanted to say thank you so much for giving us your time. Ladies, go out there and give it your all in Tokyo and bring back those medals.
Thank you very much for having us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.